Hi, welcome back to Flint's Collectibles. Today we're going to do a full read-through review on Something is Killing the Children, Book 1, Deluxe Edition. But before we do that, if you enjoy the content, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe down below. Let's go ahead and dig in. Alright, so here is the outside of the book. Now the cover is like a suede kind of feeling slip cover. There's the side, the other side, with a cover price of $60 or $70. So let's take the book out of this and let's check it out. So here is the front of the book. Now you can't really see it on video maybe, but there is like a Something with Killing the Children logo embossed on this picture right here, as well as this is embossed. So there's the front. There's the spine, and here's the back, and this is also embossed, all of this. Very cool. Love the outside of the book. So let's go ahead and dig in. Alright, so nice black inside cover page. Something is Killing the Children. Written by James Tinian. Illustrated by Werther Derlero. Sorry if I mispronounced that. And colored by Miguel Moreto. And lettered by Anworld Design. Alright, so here we are at chapter 1. Here's these kids playing Truth or Dare. Trying to scare each other. And then we jump ahead to him being interrogated by a police officer with blood all over his shirt. Trying to figure out what happened to his friends. And a 2-page spread. Something is killing the children. And then 2 weeks later we jump to, this is Erica Slaughter, which Slaughter with blood all over her eyes. And this is the story with her and this little girl she rescued. And I was trying to figure out what's going on with this. And then here's the kid that lost his friends going to school the next day, and how everyone's trying to figure out what happened and trying to figure out what he knows. But soon him and Eric are about to meet up, and here she is at the school and seeing all the missing people. And then here's her and him meeting up for the first time, and we're gonna figure out what's going on. And this is him flashing back to that night with him and his friends, and you can see just the gore and blood of his friends being killed and wanting help, and he doesn't know what to do, and this thing is getting after his friends. And then there's the creature that's killing the children, hence. And then him and her are trying to figure out what's going on or get to know each other. And then chapter 2 is us introduced to another character, and then him and his mom, and how he can't find his sister, and they're trying to figure out what's going on. And then he's asking somebody there because he can't see whatever this is in the background. And then we go back to Erica and her bumping in with this guy, and their two stories colliding, and they're trying to still figure out what's going on. And this kid wants to help so bad, and she's like, it's too dangerous. And then here's like a little flashback of some of the stuff that she's done in the past. And then this guy is trying to figure out what they're doing over here, and showing where the first victim was and where all the victims were, and trying to find out what's going on. And then she keeps getting phone calls, and then she's got this little purple little stuffed animal guy, and he like talks, so we're like, what's going on there? Why does he talk? And then the police are all trying to figure out what's going on with all these missing kids. And then we see that little stuffed animal, and then this thing is like hologrammed or metaformed out of the stuffed animals. So we're like, what is going on? So then we go to chapter 3, and there's this little girl in a closet on the front. And it's the story of this little girl, and she's being chased by this creature trying to kill her, and they don't know what's going on. And there's this conversation with this old man at this bar, and everyone's just wanting to know what's going on and They're trying to figure out who Eric is coming to her town, and the police officers are trying to figure out what she can do to help. And then there's this agent guy who's also trying to figure out what's going on. So they're all just trying to figure out what's going on with these kids. So they take her in, but then they ended up letting her out because she'd be better to help them than to be behind bars. And then here's her and him, and she's still talking to this little stuffed animal guy. The kill pattern is now more consistent with a Class B octrotype than a Class E. So we're like, what in the world? She's talking to this little stuffed animal guy. And she says, we're going to need weapons, lots of weapons. So then it goes to chapter 4, and they're going to the store to get weapons, and this sales guy is trying to sell her a weapon that will not cut you, kind of thing. And she's like, no, I want it to like be able to cut anything. And he's kind of like, what in the world would you need that for? And then here's Tommy going back to see his, I think it's his dad or something, and he ends up going there just to get a gun. His dad's just like a drunk. And then there's these two agents out trying to figure out what's going on, and then we get like a little glimpse of the people that Erica comes from. And then here's her and him going out trying to find a place to go lure this thing in the woods, while this agent's like watching them, and whoever he talking to, they're like, you need to stay close, keep an eye on them. And here's Tommy knocking that guy out with a gun, and then she's like, what's going on? And then she's like, I'm gonna go into the woods and figure out or into this cave and figure out what's going on. And then there's all these dead bodies, and Tommy thinks that it was Erica, but she's like, no, it wasn't me. And then she like sees this thing in the background, and he's like, you better put your hands up, I'm gonna get you, kind of thing. So then we go to chapter 5, and there's this kid out in who she left outside the cave. He's trying to figure out what's going on. And then he can hear this little thing talking to him. So they're having like a conversation while Erica and Tommy are in the cave she's trying to keep him safe from this creature, because he doesn't know that that's what took it. He thinks it was her, or she was part of it, and so she's trying to save him and help him. And then they end up finding a little girl in the cave, so they're trying to save her. And then this is one of the crazy parts, she ends up scratching him with like this object, I don't know what you would call it, and it ends up helping him to see things he couldn't see before. So like there's all the people with the same bandana like mask that she has, and they all have like little stuffed animals just like she does, as well as this is like the leader, kind of, I guess you'd say. So now Tommy can see the creatures that he couldn't see before. So we're like, what's going on there? And then they get out of the cave, and the agent, detective guy, takes them somewhere safe. She keeps getting all these phone calls all the time while she's trying to take care of stuff. So then we go to chapter 6. And chapter 6 is these guys outside, which is going back to like a flashback of him with his friends and what's going on, and them hanging out together and out in the woods, and just trying to slowly figure out what was going on with that situation. And then here's them in the hospital talking to her, and Tommy talking while this guy's unconscious. And he's trying to figure out answers, and she's like, you better watch out or I'm gonna break your arm. And he's like, yeah. and she's like, you better get that in the cast. So we're like, wow, she's tough. And then here's the police finding this cave and all these kids dead, and they're trying to figure out what's going on still, and they don't have any answers. And then here's Erica going to check on this little girl that she left at the police station, trying to figure out what she knows, and she's kind of telling that there was other babies for the creature that was in there, and she's like, so how many? And she's like, 5, and she's like, oh crap. So then she's trying to get more answers out of her, but then we go to Chicago, Illinois, and we end up finding the house of where Erica's group comes from, and they're talking about Erica and like how they need to get that under control, and start kind of figuring out who these people are. And they're like, the House of Slaughter has learned its lesson about picking up strays, and I guess they picked up Erica and trained her. So here's chapter 7. There's Tommy's mom, and they're just she just wants closure for losing her daughter, and they got all these bodies stacked up in the gym at the school. And then they're just trying to figure out how to tell the parents and what's happened. And then Erica's out here trying to fight these little 5 creatures that are killing the children. So she's out there trying to take them out so they don't cause more harm. And then she ends up running into this guy who's like, hey, you need to handle this differently, and you're part of our group. And she's like, I'm doing my own thing, and I know what I'm doing. And he's like they're talking back and forth. We're kind of learning more about the group that she comes from and what they know. And then here's the agent talking to the person who's keeping an eye on the girl that was found in the cave. So here's chapter 8. And then he's finally waking up after all that stuff that's happened in the cave, and this police officer's trying to figure out what he knows, and he's kind of like, I still only know like a little, and Erica's not telling me everything. So then we go back to this little girl, because now Erica and this guy from the House of Slaughter is coming to talk to this little girl. And then here comes this agent. He's like, you're not going to take her. And they're like, yeah, we are. And then wham, that guy knocks the lady who was keeping on her at the police station out. And then now they start having like a little showdown to take this girl, and she's trying to, the girl doesn't want the babies to be hurt because she doesn't fully understand what's going on. So now they take the little girl and give her to the agent, and then he takes her, and she had to knock out him to get him to calm down and quit acting irrational. We go back to the school of them all trying to figure out how they're gonna let the parents see their bodies of their kids that were killed. And Tommy's outside, and then he hears something, and now Tommy's going out in the woods and finds bodies and stuff, and he finds these babies that Erica hadn't got a chance to kill all of them yet. So then we go to chapter 9, and then there's these 2 kids going out in the woods, and then Tommy's like, hey, get out of here and be quiet, because you're too loud, they'll hear you. And so then they're all terrified, and then those 2 end up getting killed, even though Tommy tried to save them. And then this little guy is finding out that Erica was going to use him as bait to kind of like lure the creatures in so she could kill them, and she's like saying, I wouldn't let anything happen to you. And then he's kind of like upset because he doesn't fully understand the whole situation. And then we have a flashback to when Erica was younger and how one of these creatures killed her parents and she had to kill it. And then that's how she got recruited by the House of Slaughter. the group that she's with, and then we go back to the school again, to where they're trying to figure out how to let the people know about what's going on, but then they find out that there is some noises going on outside, and one of those two, he's lost on getting killed after Tommy tried to save him, but he was being too loud and obnoxious like he told him not to be. But now it looks bad because now Tommy's surrounded by the police, and they now think that he did it, even though he didn't. Chapter 10. Now they're starting to figure out what's going on with the parents, and now they got Tommy, and they think that he did it, and he's like, no, like, you don't understand what's going on and what's happening. But then that guy that's Erica's, like, sensei kind of thing, I guess. He's, like, trying to drug Tommy and make him not know what's going on and take him out of the picture before something worse happens. And we go back to the school again, and they're all talking about what's going on and all the noises, and there he goes drugging Tommy. Now Erica's like, no, don't do that, don't. She's trying to, like, save him, and how there's more kids getting killed, and them two have a conversation about it. And then there's this little girl kind of wandering off, and then she sees this creature, but like only the kids can see him, but Tommy can because he got scratched by that object, that like stone or whatever it was. So now he can also see them even though he's an adult. And then this girl gets put in the air, but they don't know what the creature got her, but they can't see it because they can't see the creature. So then Erica's trying to get all these kids inside the gymnasium and safe, and now her little trainer is out there fighting them, and then you see him, he gets his arm bitten right off. Go to chapter 11, and another flashback of Tommy and his, sorry, not Tommy, this kid and his experience back then, of what happened with his friends and how they got murdered and killed by these creatures. And then we go back to the school. They're all these babies are getting bigger and bigger, and now they're outside the school. So everyone that's inside doesn't know what's going on, but the police officer's told to just keep them there. And he's like, how close to keep them there if they don't know what's going on? And she's like, just trust me. Then we go back to the House of Slaughter, and they're talking about how the situation's getting out of hand, and how Erica's trainer was killed, and how sorry, not her trainer, Aaron Slaughter is dead, who is her, like, trainer. Now he's dead now, and they're like, we need to really get a hand on this. And then there's these little stuffed animals. So then they're trying to figure out what to do with the situation, and now they're like gathering the group all together, and they're about to head their way. So now she's like, we gotta get out of here. And he's like, why? The monsters? And she's like, no, people, bad people, because she doesn't like them at all. So there's one of the creatures right outside their car. Chapter 12 is him trying to find these people, because he ends up taking her to that agent's house, and she's been bitten by that creature while she was trying to fight it, while it's right outside their vehicle. And now here's the group coming in and putting exit closed. So they're trying to close off the town and keep everyone from coming in. So this agent's trying to get more answers out of her, what's going on, and she's starting to tell him, kind of like, hey, we need to get a handle on this, because the group that I'm with is coming here to take care of it, and they're going to take everyone out. And then Tommy's outside hearing noises, but then he actually sees the 4 white masks at the House of Slaughter. So now Erica's going back to get the little girl she found in the cave, and she's trying to tell her, hey, this thing bit me, and we need to help people and save them. And figure out what's going on. So they're trying to get her out of here. And then there's one of the House of Slaughter people. So chapter 13. There's these creatures getting bigger, but this group is like ninja samurais. Like they just go out and just destroy this thing by distracting it and killing it. And they're all just got this all figured out what's going on because they know what they're doing. But this is crazy. They're like outside the gym where all the people are being kept right now. And she says, full containment means we can be as bloody as we want to be. So what does that mean that they're gonna do? So here's Erica, her talking, and she's saying how like the old dragon wants a word with you, which is the guy with like the golden looking metal mask who's like the leader of the House of Dragon. So she tries to escape with the kids and tries to get them safe away from these people because she knows what's going to happen. So they're trying to figure out where it's all started and how it happened. And then here's these people getting the message saying find another way in because these people won't let them in because they don't know who they are and what they're going to be doing. So then they finally get in and they got these people all surrounded up in a circle. And now here's Erica letting her little spirit inside the little stuffed animal out and saying, let's begin. So here's chapter 14. And they're like, what is it? It's Erica's monster. She's saying like, yeah, this is my monster, and I make sure it's not pretty looking so that I remember what it is and how she's got it tamed. And she's like having these kids go into like a deep subconscious to bring this creature close, and they're going back to like where this all started and trying to figure out what all happened. And then they end up bringing this creature in closer, drawing it in. And then there's these House of Slaughter people at the gym still trying to take these people out. And then while Erica's trying to summon this like spirit thing to help out with drawing in these creatures. And now Tommy's like, hey, I want to get my sister home without these people just taking everyone out, and he's giving them a different story of what's actually true. And then here's Erica going out, and these creatures that were drawn in gonna take every single one of them out one by one. So she totally does and uses all of her energy. And while Tommy's telling them, hey, I killed all these kids and I did all this stuff to try to make it come out on him instead of the creatures did it. And then we go to chapter 15. We start with Erica all banged up from taking all these creatures out. And then she's like, I just need to take a second because she tells the house like it's all taken care of. So while she's doing that, Tommy's taking all the blame. So they're like, all right, this will be good enough for us. Let's just leave this be, get rid of everyone's phones and destroy all evidence, but leave them with the kids. So 1 week later, then they're talking about the news and everyone's watching while they're talking about how Tommy did it, and they find out that he's the one that did it. And then here's Erica meeting with the old dragon. For some reason, he's always eating, I guess it's like gummy worms. And they're talking, and he's kind of saying, you remember where you started? And she's like, look, I don't want to be a part of what you guys are doing. I appreciate everything you've done for me, but we're through. So then here's her taking him away, and they end up finding out that like he's the reason why the creature existed, because they played a game of like truth or dare. and he created this creature, and he's part of the problem. That's why the creature didn't kill him. But then he's telling her, like, thank you for everything you did, and thank you for helping us. And then they're leaving the town and to be continued. And here's some exiting material. Just some original drawings in here with a bunch of extra material stuff. And then about the authors. And that's it. Well, there it is. Something is Killing the Children, Book 1. So my takeaway is I really enjoyed the story. It just really had you just keep going and want to read more and more and know what's going on. And definitely didn't expect where it went. And it definitely holds up. And I'm very glad that I picked it up. And I highly recommend it. And I think it would be another one that would just be an amazing Netflix series or some network to pick it up. So that's my thoughts. And until next time, peace.